Elvis Presley stood on the grand staircase of Graceland, the afternoon light streaming through the stained glass window, painting the foyer in a kaleidoscope of colors. Outside fans gathered, a constant hum of excitement, a testament to his unparalleled fame. He was the king, the icon, the man who had everything. Millions of records sold out, concerts, beautiful homes, expensive cars, diamond-encrusted jumpsuits. He had it all and more. Yet, as he looked out, profound emptiness echoed inside him, louder than any cheering crowd. His life felt like a golden cage. Every morning he woke up to a schedule packed with demands. Photo shoots, rehearsals, meetings with Colonel Parker, recording sessions. The thrill of performance was still there, a jolt of electricity that never quite faded. But the moments off stage, the quiet times, were filled with a gnawing dissatisfaction. He'd buy another car, another piece of jewelry, throw another party, but the feeling lingered, a subtle ache deep in his soul. Lately, his nights were spent not just watching movies or playing cards with the Memphis Mafia, his loyal group of friends. Instead, he'd find himself in his personal library, surrounded by shelves, groaning under the weight of books. But these weren't scripts or fan mail. They were books on philosophy, on ancient religions, on spirituality, on the meaning of life. He devoured texts about Eastern wisdom, the teachings of Buddha, the quiet contemplation of yogis. The words spoke of inner peace, of a happiness that wasn't dependent on external things, a concept so foreign to his world of dazzling excess. Priscilla, his beautiful wife, often found him there, lost in thought. She understood his moods better than anyone. "Still searching, honey?" she'd ask softly, running a hand through his thick black hair. He'd sigh, leaning back in his armchair, the leather creaking softly. "It's just," he'd wave a hand around the opulent room, "it's wonderful. I'm grateful, truly, but it doesn't fill the void. It's like eating the most delicious meal, but still feeling hungry." He felt guilty for even admitting it. Millions dreamed of his life. Pocket he, Elvis Presley. Pocket he, Elvis Presley. But the feeling was real, a constant whisper beneath the roar of his fame. Craved something authentic, something true, something that didn't come with a price tag or a contract. One particular book caught his eye repeatedly. It was worn, its pages dog-eared, filled with underlined passages. It spoke of a spiritual master, a guru living in quiet seclusion, far from the madding crowds. A man known for his profound wisdom and ability to guide seekers to inner peace. The description of this guru, Master Keshava, was unlike anything Elvis had ever encountered. Keshava didn't promise fame or fortune. He promised liberation from the very things that bound people. Things like attachment, ego, and the endless pursuit of more. The idea of seeking a guru, a spiritual teacher, slowly took root in Elvis's mind. It was a radical thought for someone in his position. His world was about showmanship, about being the center of attention. A guru was about humility, about looking inward. But the yearning for something real was becoming too strong to ignore. He imagined meeting this Master Keshava. What would he bring? What offering would be appropriate for someone who supposedly transcended material desires? His mind, accustomed to expressing value in terms of dollars and flash, immediately went to the most expensive, most prestigious items he owned. And then it hit him. A Rolex. Not just any Rolex, but one of his finest. A gleaming masterpiece of Swiss engineering, gold and diamonds. A symbol of ultimate success and precision. He had dozens, but this one felt right. It was a gift fit for a king. And surely a guru would understand the immense respect and gratitude such a gift represented. It was the best way he knew how to honor someone, to show them how much he valued their wisdom. The thought of giving such a precious item, an object he treasured, felt like a significant act of devotion. He truly believed it was the perfect way to bridge his world of glitter and gold with the serene world of spiritual enlightenment. He would show Master Keshava, through this ultimate symbol of his success, just how much he respected him, how much he wanted to learn, He felt a flicker of hope, a warmth spreading through him that wasn't related to a screaming crowd or a chart-topping hit. This search, this journey, felt different. It felt like coming home. He made up his mind. He would seek the wisdom that promised to fill the void, to bring true peace to his restless soul. And he would go prepared with a gift that spoke volumes about his reverence and his world. A gift of pure gold and precision. A Rolex. Little did he know this gift, this symbol of his world, would become the very catalyst for his greatest lesson yet. The process of contacting Master Keshava was surprisingly simple, yet utterly different from Elvis's usual way of doing things. There were no agents, no publicists, no fan clubs, just a discreet address found in the back of the spiritual book, and a simple instruction. Come with an open heart. Elvis had his assistants make the initial discreet inquiries, and within a few days, a quiet appointment was set. No fanfare, no flashing cameras, just a humble invitation to a small, secluded retreat nestled deep in the hills far from the hustle and bustle of city life. The drive itself felt like a journey to another world. Leaving Memphis behind with its neon lights and rhythm and blues, Elvis traveled for hours, the landscape slowly transforming. Skyscrapers gave way to rolling hills, then dense forests, finally opening up to a quiet valley. The air grew cleaner, crisp, with the scent of pine and damp earth. His limousine, usually a symbol of his power, suddenly felt out of place, a gleaming anomaly in this tranquil setting. When they finally arrived, the ashram, as the book called it, was nothing like the grand temples or spiritual centers Elvis had seen in pictures. It was a cluster of modest, weathered wooden buildings, simple and functional, nestled among ancient trees. There was a quiet garden filled with blossoming flowers and the gentle hum of bees. A small, clear stream babbled nearby, its sound a peaceful melody. The only sign of life was a few people moving quietly, some tending the garden, others sitting in silent contemplation on a porch. Elvis, dressed in a simple shirt and trousers, a rare sight for him, stepped out of the car, feeling a strange mix of awe and nervousness. This was a world away from Graceland. There were no velvet ropes, no adoring fans, just an pervasive sense of calm that seemed to seep into his very bones. A young man, dressed in plain white robes, greeted him with a soft smile and a gentle nod. "Welcome, Mr. Presley. Master Keshava is expecting you." There was no hint of celebrity worship in the young man's eyes, just a calm acceptance. This immediately put Elvis at ease. Here he wasn't the king, he was just another seeker. He was led through a small, sparse corridor to a room bathed in natural light. The room was simple, adorned only with a few cushions on the floor, a small altar with fresh flowers, and a large window looking out onto the serene garden. And there, sitting cross-legged on a simple mat, was Master Keshava. The guru was an older man, perhaps in his late 60s, with a gentle face framed by a halo of silver hair and a neatly trimmed beard. His eyes were the most striking feature, deep, knowing, yet radiating a profound sense of peace and warmth. They seemed to look not just at Elvis, but into him, seeing past the layers of fame and wealth to the searching soul beneath. "Welcome, Elvis," Master Keshava said, his voice soft, resonant, and calm as the stream outside. He didn't rise, but simply offered a gentle gesture of welcome with his hand. "Please, sit." Elvis awkwardly settled onto a cushion opposite the guru, his usual confidence replaced by a sense of humility. He felt a profound presence in the room, a stillness that was almost palpable. They spoke for a long time, or so it felt. Master Keshava didn't ask about his music or his fame. He asked about Elvis's heart, about his feelings, about the emptiness he described. He listened with an intensity that made Elvis feel truly heard, perhaps for the first time in a long while. Master Keshava spoke of inner peace, not as something you achieve by acquiring more, but by letting go. He talked about happiness residing not in possessions or external validation, but in the quiet chambers of one's own being. "The true kingdom," he said softly, "is within you, not around you." True wealth is not measured in gold, but in contentment and clarity of mind. Elvis found himself nodding, absorbing every word. It was as if Keshava was articulating the very thoughts and feelings that had been swirling unspoken in his own mind. The guru spoke of the impermanence of all things, of the fleeting nature of fame and fortune, and the lasting nature of love and compassion. Many people come here seeking peace, Master Keshava explained. They bring their burdens, their questions. My role is simply to help them see what is already within them, to remove the veils that hide their own true nature. Elvis felt a profound connection to this man, a sense of rightness that resonated deep in his core. He had found what he was looking for, or rather, someone who could help him find it within himself. Contrast between his dazzling, chaotic world and the simple, serene existence was stark. Here, there was no pretense, no performance, just profound truth. He knew without a doubt that his journey had truly begun. He felt a flicker of excitement, not the kind that came from a roaring crowd, but a quiet, deep anticipation of discovery. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the room, Elvis knew he would return. He had only just dipped his toes into the vast ocean of wisdom Master Keshava offered, and already a tiny seed of hope had been planted in his heart. He also thought of the Rolex, gleaming in its velvet box back home. He was more determined than ever to present it to Master Keshava as a symbol of his gratitude and respect, a bridge between his two worlds. Elvis began to visit Master Keshava regularly, carving out time from his demanding schedule. Sometimes he'd stay for an entire day, other times just a few hours, but each visit brought a profound shift within him. Contrast between his life on the road with its electrifying energy and constant demands, and the quiet serenity of the ashram war. Yet he found himself craving the latter more and more. In the ashram, there was no Elvis. He learned the basics of meditation, sitting in silence, focusing on his breath. At first, his mind was a chaotic storm. Song lyrics, tour dates, business deals, fan expectations, all swirling like a tempest. He'd fidget his leg, tapping impatiently, his brow furrowed in concentration. How could anyone just sit still? Master Keshava never pressured him. The mind is like a wild horse, Elvis, he would say gently. It runs where it pleases. We don't tame it by force, but by gentle guidance. With practice, the horse learns to walk beside you, not to drag you. Slowly, gradually, Elvis began to feel moments of stillness. The racing thoughts would quiet, replaced by a calm he hadn't known was possible. He started to notice small things he'd overlooked before. The rustle of leaves outside the window, the distant call of a bird, the subtle scent of incense in the air. These simple observations, free from judgment or analysis, brought a surprising sense of peace. Keshava also taught him about mindfulness. Being fully present in the moment. When you eat, just eat, he'd advise. When you listen to music, truly listen. When you are with someone, truly be with them. Most people are always somewhere else, regretting the past or worrying about the future. They miss the only moment that truly exists. Now, this was a profound challenge for Elvis. His life was a constant whirl of future planning and past analysis. He was always thinking about the next show, the next album, the next big thing. To just be was revolutionary. He started trying it in his daily life. When he was playing guitar, he focused only on the music, the vibrations, the strings beneath his fingers. When he was talking to Priscilla, he tried to really listen, not just plan his next sentence. He also learned about detachment. Happiness is not owning something, but being free from the need to own it, Keshava explained. Possessions can bring comfort, but they also bring worry. True freedom comes when you realize you don't need anything to be whole. This was a particularly difficult concept for Elvis, whose identity was so intertwined with his wealth and possessions. He had always believed that the more he had, the happier he would be. Now he was being asked to question that fundamental belief. Back at Graceland, things felt different. The gold records on the walls, the Cadillac in the driveway, the expensive clothes in his closet, they still existed, but they no longer held the same power over him. He still appreciated them, but the desperate need to acquire more, to prove something, began to fade. His friends and family noticed the change. He was calmer, less restless. He still had his moments of exuberance, his playful spirit, but there was a new depth to him. He was more patient, more thoughtful. "You seem different, Elvis," Priscilla remarked one evening as he sat quietly reading. "More peaceful," he smiled, a genuine, soft smile. "I'm learning, Scylla. Learning to breathe, learning to see." Even Colonel Parker, ever the shrewd businessman, noticed, "You've got a new sparkle, son. Good for ticket sales, whatever it is," he'd bellow, completely missing the deeper shift. But Elvis didn't mind. He knew what was happening inside him, and that was all that mattered. He wasn't perfect, not by a long shot. There were still days filled with anxiety, with the pressures of his career, but now he had tools. He could find a quiet corner, close his eyes and breathe. He could remember Master Keshava's words, his gentle guidance, and find his center again. The idea of the Rolex, which had felt so right before, now had a subtle complexity to it. He still wanted to give it, driven by a deep sense of gratitude. But part of him wondered if such a grand material gift was truly appropriate for a man who spoke of detachment. Yet his instinct to show profound respect and appreciation in the only language he truly knew, that of value and luxury, remained strong. He decided that it was a heartfelt gesture from his world, and Master Keshava, with his wisdom, would surely understand the intention behind it. He wanted to show the guru how much he valued these new lessons, how much they meant to him. It was more than just a watch. It was a symbol of his journey, a piece of the old Elvis offering itself to the new. He was ready for the next step, ready to present his gift, ready to deepen his connection with the man who was guiding him towards a peace he had only ever dreamed of. Elvis felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude blooming in his chest. Each visit to Master Keshava, each quiet moment of teaching, chipped away at the layers of anxiety and restlessness that had defined his life. He was starting to feel lighter, more connected to himself, more at peace than he had ever been, even at the peak of his fame. This newfound tranquility was priceless. How could he possibly repay such a gift? His mind, accustomed to expressing appreciation through grand gestures, immediately started searching for something tangible, something that truly conveyed the immense value he placed on Master Keshava's wisdom. In Elvis's world, value was often equated with expense, with rarity, with the dazzling shine of gold and diamonds. He had given cars, homes, jewelry, even private jets to people he cared about. This was how he showed his love, his respect, his gratitude. It was the only language he knew for such profound feelings. He thought of the various gifts he could offer. A new car too flashy, surely. A house impractical for a man who lived so simply. He wanted something personal, something that carried his essence, a piece of his world transformed into an offering. Then his gaze fell upon his watch collection. Rows upon rows of exquisite timepieces, each a masterpiece of craftsmanship, a symbol of his success and his fascination with precision and beauty. And there it was, the gleaming, heavy Rolex. It wasn't just any Rolex. It was a special one made of solid gold with a diamond-studded bezel. It was a watch he rarely wore, deeming it almost too precious for daily use, reserving it for truly special occasions. And this, he realized, was the most special occasion of all. A Rolex, he mused, was more than just a watch. It was a statement. It was a symbol of meticulous engineering, of enduring quality, of wealth and status. It represented time, the most precious commodity. Yet, ironically, in his world, it was often spent chasing things that ultimately didn't matter. He wanted to give Master Keshava a piece of his world. The world of the king, but purified by his intention, offered with the deepest respect. "This is it," he whispered to himself, picking up the heavy timepiece. Gold felt cool and solid in his hand, the diamonds sparkling under the lamp. "This is how I show him." He envisioned Keshava's reaction, perhaps a gentle smile, a nod of understanding. He imagined the guru appreciating the craftsmanship, the beauty, seeing it as a symbol of the profound transformation Elvis was undergoing. It would be a bridge between his materialistic life and the spiritual path he was now walking. It would say, "I am Elvis Presley, the king, and I offer you the best of my kingdom as a sign of my gratitude for showing me a greater kingdom." He also felt a subtle, almost unconscious desire for Keshava to recognize the significance of the gift, to understand the level of his success, the heights he had reached, and therefore the profundity of his journey to seek something beyond it. It was still, in a way, tied to his ego, to his identity as Elvis. But underneath that layer, the intention was pure. Profound thanks. Carefully placed the Rolex back in its velvet-lined box, snapping it shut with a soft click. He felt a surge of excitement, almost like before a big show, but a different kind of excitement, one tinged with spiritual anticipation. He imagined the guru wearing it, perhaps, or keeping it as a memento of their connection. It would be a testament to the fact that even the king, with all his riches, sought meaning beyond the material. He truly believed this gift, a symbol of his greatest worldly success, was the perfect way to honor the man who was guiding him towards true inner wealth. He couldn't put a price on the peace he was finding, but he could certainly offer the most valuable thing his world had to offer. It was an act of sincere devotion, a heartfelt attempt to express the inexpressible. He was ready for his next visit. He was ready to present his gift. He was ready to show Master Keshava how much his lessons truly meant. The following week, Elvis arrived at the ashram with a carefully wrapped velvet box tucked discreetly under his arm. He felt a mixture of anticipation and a slight nervousness. It was a significant gesture, one he had pondered deeply. This wasn't a casual gift. It was an offering from his heart, carrying the weight of his gratitude and his hopes for true understanding. He found Master Keshava in the quiet meditation hall where they often shared their private sessions. The guru was sitting in his usual cross-legged posture, eyes closed, radiating an aura of profound peace. Elvis waited patiently, settling onto a cushion a few feet away, taking a deep breath and allowing the calm of the room to settle over him. After a few moments, Master Keshava slowly opened his eyes. A gentle smile touched his lips as he saw Elvis. "Welcome back, my son," he said, his voice a soft murmur in the stillness. "Master Keshava," Elvis began, his voice a little softer than usual, a touch of reverence in it. "I've been thinking a lot about all you've taught me, about peace, about letting go, about true happiness." He paused, reaching for the velvet box and placing it carefully on the mat between them. "And I wanted to express my gratitude, your wisdom, your guidance. It means more to me than words can say. It's truly changing my life." He pushed the box gently towards the guru. "This is a small token of my appreciation, a gift from my heart." Master Keshava looked at the box, his gaze calm and steady. There was no immediate reaction of surprise or excitement, no hint of the typical human response to a valuable present. He simply observed it, his eyes reflecting a deep understanding that seemed to penetrate beyond the wrapping. Slowly, deliberately, Keshava reached out and picked up the box. He turned it over in his hands, feeling its weight, its smooth texture. His movements were unhurried, graceful. Elvis watched, a knot of anticipation tightening in his stomach. Would the guru understand the magnitude of this gift? Would he see it as the profound sign of respect Elvis intended? With the same calm deliberation, Keshava lifted the lid. The interior of the box, lined with rich blue velvet, revealed the gleaming Rolex. The gold shone brightly, the diamonds on the bezels sparkling under the soft light of the room. It was magnificent, a testament to worldly success and exquisite craftsmanship. Elvis watched Keshava's face closely. The guru looked at the watch, turning it slightly to catch the light on its polished surface. There was no gasp, no widening of the eyes, no excited exclamation. His expression remained serene, thoughtful, perhaps even a little melancholic. It was not a look of rejection, but certainly not one of joy or acceptance in the way Elvis was accustomed to. Keshava didn't pick up the watch from its resting place. He simply gazed at it for a long moment, his eyes moving over its intricate details, the precision of its design. The silence in the room stretched thick with unspoken meaning. Elvis felt a flicker of confusion. Had he made a mistake? Was it too much? Too little? Was it the wrong kind of gift? Finally, Master Keshava looked up, his gaze meeting Elvis's. His eyes held a gentle kindness, but also a profound depth that Elvis couldn't quite decipher. "This is a very fine timepiece, Elvis," he said, his voice soft, almost a whisper. "Indeed, it is a magnificent creation of human ingenuity and skill." He closed the lid of the box, the soft click echoing in the quiet room. He then pushed the box back towards Elvis, sliding it gently across the mat until it rested once more in front of the king. "Thank you, my son, for your generous heart," Master Keshava said. "I see your sincerity, and I feel your gratitude. That is the most precious gift of all." Elvis's heart sank slightly. He hadn't expected the immediate return of the gift. He had anticipated a different kind of reaction, perhaps a quiet acceptance, a small smile, a nod of appreciation. This gentle refusal left him feeling a little bewildered, a little deflated. He had brought the most valuable thing from his world, and it had been in the softest possible way declined. He realized then that the lesson had only just begun. The true response from his guru was not in what was said about the watch, but in what happened next. Elvis looked at the returned box, then back at Master Keshava, a genuine question in his eyes. He tried to hide his disappointment, but it was difficult. He had put so much thought and sincerity into this offer. "Master," he began, his voice tinged with confusion. I truly wanted to show you my respect, to thank you for everything." He gestured vaguely at the roll. "In its box, it's as finest I own. A symbol of," he trailed off, searching for the right words, "of success, of my world." Master Keshava nodded slowly, his gaze unwavering. "I understand your intention, Elvis, and your sincerity touches my heart deeply, that is clear to me." He then reached out, not to take the watch, but to gently place his hand on the box as if acknowledging its presence without claiming it. "But tell me, my son, why this gift? Why a timepiece so magnificent, so expensive?" Elvis hesitated, trying to formulate his thoughts. "Well, Master, it's a Rolex. It represents the very best of craftsmanship. Of value? It measures time, which is so precious. I wanted to give you something truly valuable. How much I honor you." He wanted Keshava to understand that this was the pinnacle of what his world considered precious, a testament to his gratitude. Keshava listened patiently, his eyes soft. When Elvis finished, the guru picked up the box once more, this time opening it again. He gently lifted the Rolex from its velvet cushion, letting the gold chain dangle. He held it for a moment, letting the light reflect off the diamonds, observing its intricate design. "Indeed, it is a beautiful object," Keshava said, his voice thoughtful, "and it is true it measures time. But tell me, Elvis, what is time to you?" Elvis blinked. "Time, well, it's how we live, hours, minutes, seconds. It's how we plan our day, how we know when to be on stage, when a record is due." He chuckled a little. "It's what the Colonel always reminds me I'm running out of." Master Keshava smiled faintly. "Yes, in your world, time is often seen as a commodity, something to be managed, divided, filled, or even wasted. But what about the experience of time? Does this beautiful Take it, Elvis. Wear it for a day. Just today? Observe it not as a symbol of wealth, but as a tool. Pay attention to how it interacts with your day, how others react to it, and how you feel wearing something so undeniably valuable." What does it truly do for you? Elvis took the watch, feeling its familiar weight in his palm. It felt different now. Less like a prized possession, more like an object for study. He clipped it onto his wrist, the cold metal a stark contrast to the warmth of his skin. Then Master Keshava continued, his voice softer. After you have observed this, I will tell you what time truly means to me, and perhaps we can then speak of true value, and the greatest gift of all. Elvis nodded, feeling a new kind of anticipation. This wasn't a rejection, but an invitation to a deeper lesson. The guru wasn't simply saying no. He was turning the gift itself into a teaching tool. Elvis felt a fresh wave of respect for Keshava's wisdom. He hadn't just refused the watch. He had transformed it, imbuing it with a new purpose. It was no longer just a gift. It was homework. And Elvis, the perpetual student of life, was ready to learn. He left the ashram with the Rolex gleaming on his wrist, but his mind was not on its material worth. It was on the quiet question Master Keshava had posed. What is time, and what does this watch truly do? Elvis spent the next day wearing the Rolex as Master Keshava had instructed. He found himself constantly aware of it on his wrist. It felt heavier than usual, almost like a burden, now that its purpose had been redefined. First he noticed how others reacted. His friends, the Memphis Mafia, immediately spotted it. "Whoa, Elvis, that's a new one, ain't it dazzling?" they'd exclaim, eyes wide with admiration for the diamonds and gold. They saw the value, the status, the king's choice. This was their language, a confirmation of his wealth and taste. But Elvis, observing through Keshava's lens, felt a strange detachment. He saw their admiration for the object, not for him, and definitely not for the lesson it now represented. Later, he had a meeting with Colonel Parker about an upcoming tour. The colonel, always meticulously observant of Elvis's image, eyed the watch. "Looking sharp, son. That'll shine under the spotlights." He saw it as a prop, another element of the king's grand persona, a tool to enhance his brand. Again, it was about external perception, about what the watch represented in the world of show business. Elvis also paid attention to how he felt wearing it. He found himself checking it constantly, not for the time, but just to acknowledge its presence. It felt like a weight, a reminder of the very things he was trying to detach from. He realized that, before, when he wore such a watch, it was a subtle affirmation of his success, a quiet declaration of his status. Now it felt like a silent question, echoing Keshava's words. What does it truly do for you? He realized the watch didn't make him feel more peaceful, more connected, or more joyful. It simply was. Its value was completely external, projected onto it by human desires and societal norms. The next day, Elvis returned to the ashram, taking off the Rolex as he entered and placing it on the mat before Master Keshava. "Master," he said, "I wore it. I observed. Others saw its value, its shine. For me, it just felt heavy. It didn't bring me peace. It just was." Master Keshava picked up the watch again, holding it gently. "Indeed," he said, a quiet understanding in his voice. "This watch, like all material objects, has a perceived value. Its value is not inherent in the gold or the diamonds, but in the desire of human beings for such things, and the status they associate with them. You wish to give me something valuable, you gave me something that is considered valuable in your world. But in my world, my son, true value is measured differently." He then held the watch up, not looking at its face, but at Elvis. "This machine measures the passing of seconds, minutes, hours. But true time is not measured this way. True time is the eternal now. It is the present moment, the only moment we truly possess. The most precious gift you can give is not an object that measures time, but the gift of your presence in time. It is your focused attention, your genuine compassion, your selfless actions. These are the currencies of true wealth." This watch, Elvis, he continued, gesturing to the Rolex, is a symbol of your journey. You offered it as a token of your world, of your gratitude, but I do not need it to tell timing. And its material value is not something I seek." Then came the profound part of the lesson. Keshava looked at the watch, then back at Elvis. "Perhaps it will fund a humble project here or help someone who genuinely needs to measure time for a simple practical purpose, like a farmer needing to track seasons for planting, or a student needing to be on time for their lesson. Its value will be transformed from personal luxury to collective benefit." Elvis stared, completely taken aback. He was taking a symbol of ultimate luxury and transforming its meaning entirely, aligning it with the very principles of simple living and selfless service he taught. This was not a refusal. It was a profound lesson in true value and detachment. The Rolex in Master Keshava's hands was no longer just a watch. It was a catalyst for change, a tangible representation of the spiritual journey Elvis was embarking upon. He finally understood. The guru didn't need his wealth, he needed his understanding. And this lesson, more than any meditation, was cracking open Elvis's heart. The lesson of the Rolex resonated deeply within Elvis, echoing in his mind long after he left the ashram. It was a powerful, tangible metaphor for everything Master Keshava had been teaching him about true value, detachment, and the nature of happiness. The watch, once a symbol of his ultimate success, now represented something entirely different. The stark contrast between worldly wealth and spiritual richness. He began to see his own life, his possessions, and his fame through this new lens. He still owned Graceland, his cars, his jumpsuits, his millions, but they no longer held the same grip on him. The relentless pursuit of more, which had driven him for so long, had begun to quiet. Before, when he gave gifts, it was often tied to his ego. He wanted to impress, to show off his generosity, to feel powerful. Now he understood that true giving came from a place of love and compassion, not from a desire for external validation. He thought of his previous gifts, the cars he bought for friends, the houses for family. While given with genuine affection, he now saw a subtle layer of his own need to be the king, the benevolent giver. Intertwined with the act, the Rolex lesson had stripped that away. His behavior started to change in subtle but significant ways. He still performed with his signature passion, but the frantic energy that often accompanied his offstage life began to wane. He spent more time in quiet contemplation, reading, meditating. He found joy in simple moments. A quiet conversation with Priscilla, the laughter of his daughter, Lisa, Marie, the warmth of the Memphis sun. One afternoon, he found himself in his garage, surrounded by his collection of luxury cars. Before, he would have felt a surge of pride, a sense of accomplishment. Now he looked at them as beautiful machines, certainly, but they didn't define him. He realized he owned them. They didn't own him. He became more genuinely present with people. When a fan spoke to him, he would truly listen, looking into their eyes, not just signing an autograph and moving on. He tried to apply Keshava's teaching of being fully here, now, to every interaction. This made his connections feel more authentic, more fulfilling. His music too began to reflect this newfound depth. While he still sang his rock and roll, there was a richer emotional quality to his performances. He chose to record more gospel psalms, his voice imbued with a newfound spiritual understanding. He wasn't just singing words, he was conveying a message that resonated with his internal journey. He noticed he was enjoying the act of creating music more rather than just focusing on the outcome, the sales figures or the chart positions. There were moments of struggle, of course. The old habits of seeking external validation, of craving the roar of the crowd to fill an inner void, still resurfaced, but now he had the tools Master Keshava had given him. He could pause, breathe, return to his center. He could remind himself that true peace came from within, not from the fleeting applause of the world. He often thought about the Rolex, now kept at the ashram, waiting for its true purpose. He wondered how Keshava would eventually use it, That anticipation, too, became part of the lesson. It wasn't about the watch itself, but about the meaning that would be assigned to it. A meaning far beyond its monetary value. The shift was internal, but it radiated outward. "You're glowing, Elvis," she said one evening, touching his cheek. "It's like the weight has lifted." He smiled, a genuine, peaceful smile. "It has, Scylla, Master Keshava," he showed me, "that the heaviest weight isn't what you carry, but what you cling to." He didn't explain the Rolex story in detail, not yet. Some lessons were too profound for words best understood, through quiet observation and interchange. He was still learning, still transforming, but he knew without a doubt that he was on the right path. The king was still the king, but he was becoming a different kind of ruler, a ruler of his own inner kingdom. The changes in Elvis's life, born from Master Keshava's teachings and the profound lesson of the Rolex, continued to deepen. He was still the global superstar, performing to sold-out crowds, signing autographs, and living in the public eye. But the way he experienced his life had fundamentally transformed. His spiritual practice became a cornerstone of his day. He woke earlier, dedicating time to meditation and quiet reflection. He found moments of stillness even amidst the chaos of touring, in his dressing room before a show on the private plane between cities, or in a quiet hotel room. These moments were his anchors, grounding him in the present, reminding him of what truly mattered. His relationships improved. He listened more to Priscilla, to his band members, to his friends. He was more patient, less prone to the emotional swings that had sometimes plagued him. He started engaging in deeper conversations, no longer just talking about superficial things, but exploring ideas, feelings, and the meaning of life with those he trusted. "You know, Elvis," Joe Esposito, one of his closest friends, observed one day, "you don't seem to get as riled up about things anymore, even when the Colonel's being a pain." Elvis chuckled. "I'm learning, Joe. Learning to pick my battles, and learning which battles aren't mine to fight at all. Most of them are just in my head anyway." He began to share his spiritual journey, albeit subtly, with those closest to him. He didn't preach, but he spoke of the peace he was finding, the insights he was gaining. Some were curious, others skeptical, but all noticed the positive shift in his demeanor. One afternoon, during a visit to the ashram, Elvis casually asked Master Keshava about the Rolex. "Master," he began, "you said you would use the watch when the time was right, for a true purpose. Has that time come?" Master Keshava smiled, a gentle warmth in his eyes. "Indeed, my son, the watch has found its purpose." He led Elvis to a small, brightly lit room that Elvis hadn't seen before. Inside, several young people were diligently studying, their faces earnest and focused. They were students from the nearby village, eager for education but lacking resources. Keshava pointed to a small wooden table where the gleaming Rolex now rested, not on velvet, but on a simple, worn leather strap. Beside it was a stack of humble schoolbooks, a few pencils, and a small, neatly written ledger. "This watch, Master Keshava, X-score, was sold. Its material value was indeed immense, and with the funds it provided, we were able to purchase these books and supplies for these bright students. We have also repaired the roof of the village schoolhouse and ensured that these children have a quiet, consistent place to learn for the next year." He gestured to one of the students, a young girl diligently writing in a notebook. "They are for practical, essential timekeeping, allowing these children to be present for their lessons, to manage their day and to build their future." Elvis stared at the Rolex, then at the students, then at the simple village clock that would now guide their lives. A profound wave of emotion washed over him. Not sadness for the loss of the watch, but an overwhelming sense of joy and clarity. Elvis felt tears welling in his eyes. He finally truly understood. The watch wasn't a gift for Keshava to wear. It was a catalyst for Elvis's own transformation. The guru had taken his grand materialistic gesture and spun it into a lesson that transcended anything Elvis could have imagined. He had shown Elvis that true value lay not in accumulation, but in contribution. The king, whose life had always been about taking the spotlight, was now learning the profound joy of illuminating others. And in that act he felt more regal, more truly a king than he ever had before. Years passed, but the lesson of the Rolex and the ongoing guidance of Master Keshava remained a guiding light for Elvis. He continued his career, his music evolving to reflect the deeper peace he found within. His performances still thrilled audiences, but now there was a new authenticity, a soulful resonance that stemmed from his inner transformation. He sang not just for fame, but for the sheer joy of creation, and to connect with his audience on a more profound level. He often visited the ashram, not just for lessons, but simply to be in the peaceful presence of Master Keshava. Their relationship had deepened into a profound bond of mentor and devoted student, built on shared understanding and a silent communion of spirits. The material world no longer held the same allure for Elvis. While he still enjoyed comfortable living, the constant need for more, for bigger and shinier things, had vanished. His happiness was no longer contingent on external validation. He reflected often on the Rolex. It had been the most expensive gift he could conceive, offered with the best intentions of his former world. But Keshava had taken that symbol of earthly kingship and transformed it into a symbol of selfless service, proving that true wealth lay in generosity and purpose. Gleaming gold and those sparkling diamonds had in the guru's hands become school books and a reliable village clock, tangible benefits for a community rather than a personal adornment. Elvis realized that the king he truly aspired to be was not defined by his crown, his castles, or his riches, but by the peace in his heart, the compassion in his actions, and the wisdom in his choices. He learned that true royalty wasn't about being served, but about serving. Not about owning, but about giving. Not about commanding, but about understanding. The void that had once haunted him at Graceland was gone, replaced by a quiet contentment. He found joy in his family, in his music, and in the simple act of living mindfully. He understood that happiness wasn't something to be chased and caught, but something that arises from within when one lets go of attachment and embraces the present moment. One day, sitting with Master Keshava in the quiet garden, Elvis looked out at the blossoming trees, the gentle stream, and the simple wooden buildings. "Master," he said, his voice filled with gratitude, "you showed me that the most valuable things are not what money can buy. You showed me that a king's true kingdom is found within." Master Keshava smiled, his eyes twinkling. "You simply remembered, my son. The truth was always there, waiting for you to uncover it. The Rolex was merely a mirror, reflecting your journey back to yourself." Elvis carried this wisdom with him every day. He might still be Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, but he was also Elvis, the seeker, the student, the man who had found his true north. His music, his charisma, his unique connection with his fans, all remained. But they were now infused with a deeper purpose, a quiet strength. He had learned that fame and fortune could be wonderful tools, but they were not the destination. The ultimate lesson was not about rejecting wealth, but about understanding its true place. It was about realizing that joy, peace, and love were the real treasures, boundless and freely given. The golden cage had transformed into a vessel of light, and the king had found his true throne, not on a stage, but in the serene chamber of his own heart. He was truly the king, not because of what he possessed, but because of the wisdom he had embraced and the peace he had finally found.